Good greeting, we are Group 3 from CWT4113 SCKL4 for the course Teori Reka Bentuk. And now we are going to talk about Hippie.
Selamat sejahtera, my name is Adrian Moyhan. So today I will present about the historical context and political influences of hippies. Hippie culture, often called the Youth Rebellion, emerged in the 1960s as both a cultural and political movement. It was deeply influenced by the social and political turmoil of the time, especially the Vietnam War. Young Americans who had initially been in favor of peace found themselves sent to fight in brutal battles, which made them to widespread disillusion with the war and the government. Other major events like the assassination of President Kennedy and Cuban Missile Crisis further eroded trust in authority, creating fertile ground for anti-mainstream ideologies. The Vietnam War became most important part of the hippie movement. Many Americans saw it as an unfair war started by aggression rather than defense. The loss of young life made people want to stop the war. Slogans like "Make love, no war" and "Do your own thing" showed this feeling and became a popular way to rallying cries for change. There were more and more anti-war demonstrations all over the country. Young people did not like the violence and nationalism that the war seemed to represent. In short, the hippie movement was more than just a rebellion, it was a dream of a better world. It had its shortcomings, but it made people think about war and freedom, and that talk is still going strong today.
My name is Lo Xinru and my metric number is C2280535. The topic I choose is hippie fashion. Hippie fashion in 1960s was a way for people to express their freedom, individuality, and rebellion against the rules of society. Hippie has promoted the ideology of sustainability since early times. It might be the first movement in fashion that led the way to the eco-friendly or green fashion of today's concept. Hippies also encourage the reuse materials by wearing the second-hand clothes and fashion products. These are the key elements that make up the iconic fashion hippie movement. First is tie-dye clothing. Known for its bright colors and swirling patterns, tie-dye symbolizes individuality and freedom of expression, embodying the movement, creative and free-spirited ethos. Second is flare pants and bell-bottom. These pants were wide at the bottom and very trendy during the hippie era. People loved wearing them because they were bold and fun. One of the artists, Jimi Hendrix, wearing the bell-bottoms at the Woodstock Festival. Third is bohemian fashion. These include long flowing dresses, fringe vests, and handmade accessories. It was all about being comfortable and close to nature. Next is headband and flower crowns. People make them from fabric, leather, or flowers. They were symbols of peace and love, which were important to hippies. Last, we have jewelry. Hippie wore handmade jewelry made from beads, feathers, stones, and shells. These items show their love for nature and being unique.
Is Amanda Lim Hui Yin and my magic number is C22800102. The title of my talk is about the hippie movement in aspects of art and music. In the 1960s, there was a time of big change, and the hippie movement played a huge role in it. The hippies stood for peace, freedom, and living closer to nature. They challenged the rules of society and used arts and music to make their voices heard. One inspiring figure from this time was Vito Pavlekas. He was an artist known for creating bold sculptures and expressive body art. For example, his sculptures often had exaggerated dramatic figures that broke away from traditional art styles. Vito's work was about freedom and rebellion. showing the wild and free spirit of the hippie era. His art wasn't just decoration, it was the way of expressing himself and inspiring others to think differently. At the same time, folk music was bringing people together in places like Greenwich Village and Berkeley. Artists like Bob Dylan wrote songs such as Blowing in the Wind, which questioned war and equality, while Joe Bennon's song about peace and justice. Festivals like Woodstock in 1969 became iconic, where thousands gathered not only for music but also to share ideas, arts, and vision for a better world. The hippie movement showed us that creativity is powerful. Arts like Vito sculptures and music like Dylan's song can challenge the way things are and inspire and bring people together. That's all from me. Thank you.
The hippie ideology referred to the culture and the social movement that emerged in the 1960s, primarily in the United States. This movement was the reaction against conservative and the traditional value of the time, as well as opposition to the Vietnam War. Peace and anti-violence. Hippie are known. The slogan "Make love, not war," emphasizing love and peace as an alternative to war and violence. Next, individual freedom. They reject strict social norms, advocating for the personal freedom and the right of individuals to express themselves. And second, environment and natural living. Hippie tended toward a lifestyle closer to nature, emphasizing ecology, organic food, and sustainable living. And next, sexual freedom. The movement also rejected the traditional sexual value, promoting freedom and the sexual relationship. And next, drug use. Recreational drug use such as like LSD was common among hippies with the belief that it could open door to highest consciousness. Anti-materialism. This group reject materialistic culture and capitalism, opting for the simpler and communal living. And last, art and music. Music played a critical role in the movement, which is genre like rock and becoming symbol for the hippie culture.
I'm Shija, and now I'm gonna talk about the drugs law in the hippie movement. There are a few of popular drugs among the hippies. The first one was the lysergic acid, that's limit in the short form name LSD. And the second one is psilocybin mushroom, or in the common names mushroom. Both drugs are popular among hippies to increase any kind of creativity and to improve on their spiritual exploration. Then the third one was marijuana. This kind of drug was especially for relaxation and used on a counter-cultural rebellion. Thus, some policies have been built by government for that moment. The first one was 1916 Drugs Abuse Control Amendment. This action started with early regulations of drug production. Second one was Controlled Substance Act 1970, and this action was to clarify LSD, mushroom, and marijuana as Schedule 1 drugs, which means those are harmful and useless in medical section. And the third action was the war on drugs. Many related hippies and drugs use have been targeted by the President Nixon at that moment. The cops increased the surveillance and raids on communist festivals and gatherings. By the way, there will be some impact came out through the action that made by government. For example, many hippies were arrested during the raids, and those policies had led to moderate debates on legalizing drugs.